say they can hear. You know that.
Yeah, I know, because the other day I was watching the show and I could hear us talking.
Yeah.
I don't care. I just said not when it's 90 degrees. You were going to wear a sweater again today.
I was planning on wearing a sweater just for the simple fact
that it irritated me.
That irritated
me, because last week I said I had on a sleeveless dress, very springy looking dress.
Yeah.
And you came in a sweater.
Well, I planned my day from when I get up, and it was cold that morning, so I...
Yeah, because we discussed. You kept saying it was cold and rainy, and I kept saying, no, it was not cold and rainy.
Well, you don't live in Harrison.
Oh, I live here in Mountain Home, and it was...
rainforest where I live. You know,
oh, that's right down in Goatville.
And it's 5 to 8 degrees colder where I'm at than in town, because I'm in the trees. And
you're in the trees. Are you at a high? You shouldn't be at a higher elevation south, but there are. When you go down there in the mountains, it actually gets higher.
Well,
because it tips up.
It gets cooler in the valleys down there. So yeah. How have you been this week?
I've been terrific. I've just been enjoying the beautiful weather. I really have this weekend. I have some tennis to look forward to, and my daughter's wedding is coming up. Ashley gets married May 5th.
Is she getting married in Little Rock?
She's getting married in Mountain View.
Oh.
She's getting married in Mountain View. So my baby girl is getting married. She will be Chloe Ashley Ballantyne. So, because we talked about that. I asked her.
Cab.
She will. Well, yeah, instead of CAD, she is now. But she said, once somebody had asked me if she was going to change her name, so I asked her if she was going to change her name. And she said, well, I wasn't until Ryan and I talked about it, and I found out, yes, I was.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, she said he got real, and Ryan's really open-minded, real liberal kind of guy, but when she said something about not changing her name, she said he got there's nothing wrong with the name Ballantyne, all this kind of stuff. And she's like, okay, that'll be fine.
Well, that's cool.
So I thought that was kind of cute.
Yeah.
She said, I found out, yes, I was.
Yeah.
It was really important to him.
Are you somebody that likes to stay outside all the time?
Yes.
Now, some people do. Now, I don't mind being inside all day.
Oh!
I don't mind.
Oh, no, I have to be outside. I spend a lot of time on I've got a little back patio, and I spend a lot of time just, like if I'm going to read, I'll just go sit outside and read. I cannot be indoors all the time, which is why, as I was telling Gil, Sweetie and I are going to have to retire to Belize fairly quickly. Because
that is a popular place to retire to.
She's developed this shivering when it gets below like 80 degrees. She's in a blanket on a heating pad.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking we're going to have to go someplace where it's like 95 year round for her to make it.
Have you been to Belize?
No, I've never been south. I've been to Europe several times, but I've never even been to Mexico.
Yeah.
Never been south.
Well, I've heard you don't want to drive to Belize.
You could, but you would go through an area in southern Mexico that's a little dicey.
Right. And if you had any
there is a
available
Trans-American Highway, though, that goes down through there.
Yeah.
But it's a little dicey in a couple of places.
Yeah.
What's the diciest place you've ever been, Daniel?
In the United States?
Anywhere. Where's the diciest place you've ever been?
What comes to mind is the international airport in Vancouver. I've never been to an international airport, and the variety of people from around the world is just bizarre. It's just bizarre.
Well, that's why the airports are the best people watching places, because you can make up stories about them, and you always kind of figure out where you think they're going to go, because somebody gets off the plane in shorts and flip-flops, and somebody else has a sweater on, and you're trying to,
I can tell you, another thing comes to mind is before my wife and I got married, we took a trip to see my mother, and she lived in Dyersburg, Tennessee, and we went 62. But you got to remember, this was 1975, and they didn't have a bridge over the Mississippi River there.
So you took a ferry?
We took a ferry, but we took it like at 3 o'clock in the morning, and it was a one-car ferry.
A one-car?
And it was like deliverance. It scared me to death, because we pulled up. I mean, I was driving through the town. It was not Dyersburg, but I can't remember the town. It's in Arkansas. It's right there on the river, and somebody knows exactly what town it is, but I can't remember. It's before they built the bridge over there.
Yeah.
And a cop pulled me over because I was driving around trying to find the road to get out of town. And I asked him, I said, I need to get to Dyersburg. And he says, well, you need to take the ferry and take this road down till you hit the river. So I said, well, how far is that? He says, oh, about 8-10 miles, something like that.
Yeah,
so I started driving. It was foggy, and it was 3 o'clock in the morning.
And you weren't really sure where you were at?
I wasn't sure. It was one of those little bitty Chevy Love trucks, pickup trucks, about the size of a Cracker Jack box. And we driving and driving.
And you were young.
I was
young when you and Betty got married.
Yeah, I was I'm about 20, I think.
Yeah, about 20
years old.
You were 20. You were just a kid.
Yeah, just got my license.
You and Betty were just young when you got married.
But I got frustrated because I said, that guy said it was like 8 miles, and I've gone 10 already. I kept going faster and faster, and all of a sudden we flew off the road. The road stopped.
Just stopped.
And we stopped in this sandbar or gravel bar, and I rolled the windows down. I could hear the ocean, or not hear the, but the river. And then I saw a little bitty light bulb in the distance right over there. And I drove over there, and there was this ferry, and this guy was in there, and he had a
And so he kind of came out on tooth like that, kind of?
Well,
almost.
I was just scared to death. Anyway, we got across, but that was scary.
Is that one of those, like, I don't think I'm in Kansas anymore kind of thing?
Yeah. If you ever are lost, completely lost, of course, folks, there's no cell phones out there. There's no pay phones out there. There's no communication at all. And we had a couple $100 in our pocket, and I thought, that guy's going to...
He's going to rob us.
He's going to rob us and push this car off into the Mississippi River.
And our bodies will be found floating down.
No, they've never been found, probably.
Never been eaten by those huge catfish in the Mississippi.
Yeah.
Well, you know...
Those things go through your head.
I was frightened on a trip one time because I drove through a terrible storm. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't have been as frightened if my cell phone didn't keep ringing and people going, do you know, oh my gosh, you're not anywhere near. Yes, I'm right in the middle of it. And I mean, it was horrible storms. You couldn't see anything. There were tornadoes. I actually came through some tornadoes. And I was literally frightened that something bad was. But I was on my way to Florida driving by myself and eventually came out, you know, into the sunshine, and it was groovy. But I told the story on the show one time about winding up in Bucksnort, Arkansas. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't frightened, but it had all the hallmarks of deliverance. There were coon skins on the side of this house, if you can call it a house. Mm-hmm. There was a hog hide, and there was like the refrigerator on the front porch, and an old guy in overalls. I don't think he was carrying a gun, though I would like to think in my memory I've made that part up, but he did come out of the house and start walking toward us. And with the friend I was with, and I said, are you going to stop? No! And I said, what are you going to do? He said, I'm going to give him you.
Get out of here.
I said, what are you going to do if he stops? He goes, I'm going to give him you. And I was like, oh my gosh.
That's
and
funny.
We took off through a field. And there was a sign that said, Bucksnort, Arkansas.
That's funny.
And that was a little funky. If he'd had a gun, we'd have freaked out. But, and I said, thank goodness we don't have New York plates or something on this pickup truck.
That's funny.
Yeah,
well, we need to move on. We've got a full house today.
We got lots of people.
We do have lots of people, and we appreciate them for being here.
New and old.
Now we're not going to start off with number 1 because they're going to slide right on down to number 5.
5, yeah, because they were number 5 on mine. Besides, they're here. They're here all the time. Everybody knows Enoch and Jeff.
And the party doesn't start till
they're like
Elvis.
Here. One name is enough. Enoch and Jeff, and everybody knows. Seriously, they're applauding at home already. I can hear them.
Okay.
Enoch and Jeff.
Yeah, let's go to number 2.
Okay, number 2 is Randy and Lisa West, and they're here with Loads of Love. And I'm not sure what Loads of Love is. That's all the information I have. So
you think we could pry it out of them?
We're going to load up on love.
You think we could pry that out of them?
I think you'll try one of your corny jokes.
And then we have Coach Don Webb. He's Arkansas coaches. It was entered into the Hall of Fame. We'll find out about that. Great.
He has been a long-time coach in the area. I met Don probably about 10 years ago when I first moved to town. And then we have Terry Argyle, Susan Wilson, and Ann Chris, thank you. David's Trail Day. And David's Trail, they're adding on and on and on to David's Trail. It's a wonderful addition to our community. And the next one are actually mine, but you can have them.
Deborah Shaw and Robert Shirley are here to talk about the ASUMH Student Emergency Fund.
Very worthy cause.
Yep. Let's take our break. Yeah.
And Enoch and Jeff.
Oh, yeah, we can
they're going to talk about a race, Enoch and Jeff.
Run for the Park, I think.
Run for the Park, exactly.
Is that a 2.5K and a 12K or something like that?
Something like 22K. We're going to make it up as we go. Yeah, 22, 23, however far it is.
All right. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll be talking with Randy and Lisa West. Stay with us.